and welcome to Tremco Live, where we're socially distant but technically connected. I'm very excited to be up in front of you each and every Friday talking to you about design challenges, going through case studies, and just really having this time to interact with everybody. I'm Marcy Tyler, the Director of Building Science for Tremco, and I'm joined by my co-host.
And I'm Paul Hugenboom. I'm the President of Tremco Construction Products with Marcy, a fine collection, brands, companies, buildings, facilities, what have you.
Systems?
Systems. But of course, most of all, our people.
Our people, exactly. We love this opportunity to get up in front of everybody each and every Friday. The ability for you guys to wind down with us is really our goal. You know, since we haven't been able to interact as much as we used to, this gives us that chance to interact. So please keep your suggestions coming in, your ideas, and please use that question pane when you have questions during these broadcasts. If we don't get to it live, we'll definitely reach out afterwards so that we can have that type of interaction with all of you. So Paul, how have you been? How's your week been?
It's spring, Marcy.
So you're good.
And given, the long COVID winter we had, it felt like spring would never come.
Yeah.
But it came.
It did.
And it's been great.
It did. Well, for those of you that have been checking in with us and watching in the month of March, we've been all talking about comparing different technologies. So today we are doing just that as well. And we've got some technologies we're going to share today. So let's get those up on screen for everybody. We are comparing today. Paul, do you want to take a guess?
Well, I did peek at the slides before.
So you know. Very good, very good. So we are talking today specifically about comparing different types of finishes, and we are going to focus on the Dryvit finishes. Sorry, Nadura was last week.
Yes.
So we definitely wanted to be able to share this information with all of you and bring that to you guys live and just kind of go through some of those comparisons that you see on a regular basis with different technologies. So we started off in the beginning of the month talking about a variety of different things. As I mentioned, we talked about wall construction last week when we had people on talking about insulated concrete forms and thermal mass. We have so much more to come on that. And today we're focusing, as I mentioned, on facades. And it's interesting, there's lots of information out there as you look at EIFS in general. EMA, who's going to be our guest in May, they're celebrating their 40th year anniversary, and they're going to come on that day with us in May. So we're excited to have them, but I looked to them for a variety of different comparisons. So they do a great job comparing different types of facades, and this one specifically is about metal. So definitely check that out if you want to see those comparisons. They do a great job of talking about how versatile EIFS is and how it really can look like metal, like you can see in that picture there on the right-hand side. They also talk about benefits from an insulation perspective, right, and energy efficiency. So when you're building with something like EIFS, when you have that insulation versus something like metal, which is actually going to bring that heat into your structure, you're definitely going to get those advantages right up.
Yeah, this is timely, Marcy, because the whole look of metal is, I think, trending more and more and more. And it also is in roofing. I think in roofing, metal's picking up about 1% market share every year. So this versus metal is very timely.
Yeah, it is. And then there's just, obviously that design consideration. When you look at something like exterior insulated finished systems, there is so much you can do with it. And when you're looking at a structure, none of them seem to have just one facade anymore, right? They transition from metal to glass to brick to stone. But with EIFS, you can make all of that look like different types of materials, but yet it's all one uniform system that gives you that continuous insulation.
Yeah, I think that's another great point. The whole, I don't know, I hear the term rustication. I don't know if I said it right, but the movement towards the looks, and I think it really plays to the strengths of EIFS, especially in that you can keep all the the barriers all in one plane and continuous.
Yeah, when we talk about that jacket of protection, I do a whole AIA on that, and this truly is giving you that jacket of protection. And then testing, right? There's a lot of testing that's been done. EIFS also, EMA actually has a whole thing on durability, because that seems to be the thing that comes up the most. They want to understand durability. And I know we've done some funny videos where I'm hitting new brick with a hammer, comparing it to a conventional brick. And I know some of our Dryvit counterparts have them hitting the wall with a bat. So it's definitely durable. And that study from EMA can definitely go into more detail if you're interested.
And that durability is somewhat counterintuitive, right? Because the thinking is, oh, metal would be more durable than eaves.
Right.
But it's not.
Right.
Which is not, I don't know, it's not what you kind of just think off the cuff
Exactly.
until you see us take a baseball bat to it. And you're
Yeah.
like, hey, wait a minute, one dented and the other didn't.
The other didn't, exactly. The other comparison we see a lot of is comparing eaves versus stucco. A lot of people like to refer to eaves as insulated stucco because that gives them that look of stucco, but then you have all the great insulated properties. So it's essentially, it's eaves. But there is definitely a difference between eaves and stucco, which I think we could do a whole presentation on this, and we will.
That's good.
Because we're going to have a design professional come on in April, and he's going to go through, and that whole segment's going to be just on that. What are the differences between eaves and stucco, and how can you truly use those benefits of eaves if you're in a stucco state of mind?
Yeah.
So that would be great. There's lots of obviously features there.
Data here, we have that stuff.
Yeah, that's going to be coming up in April. So we'll definitely have a good focus on that. But you can just see some of the things I listed there. Obviously, if you're building with eaves versus stucco, there's going to be a weight difference, right? And therefore, the mechanical attachments needed are going to be different, right? You're not going to be penetrating that wall like you would with metal lath for stucco. And things like the crack resistance, of course, the R value. And then EMA also did a great study on environmental impact of building with eaves versus stucco. So there's lots of great information on their website comparing these technologies.
Yeah, and I think the other thing that's not well appreciated when you really lightweight your facade, there are so many other benefits in the manner and method of construction. So let's make sure we get all those in.
We will. I'm actually taking note, manner and method. I only have one small note on it right now.
It's all the lessons John Powers has taught me.
Yes, exactly. He's great at that for sure. And then, of course, there's lots of information on the Dryvit's website too. So here's just 4 of those documents that compare different what would you consider your conventional facades comparing them to eaves. So these are great and they can be found on the Dryvit website. So those are great resources for everybody. And then, of course, the one that we put together on new brick. So the new brick difference, comparing that to clay brick. So lots of great information comparing those. And of course, we're going to have somebody on talking about new brick as well in the month of May. So we're definitely going to expand upon these topics. There's so much great information to share that we want to definitely expand that into additional weeks.
Fantastic. I was hoping new brick was coming too.
Yes, so we'll definitely talk more about new brick. Now, we always like to bring our guests on and our subject matter experts. Of course, we would want to bring on Ray Rizzi today, so he can talk to us a little bit about one of his projects that he worked on. He combined a lot of the Tremco CPG products into one complete system for the Drew Hotel. So Ray Rizzi, welcome to Tremco Live.
Hi, Marcy. Hi, Paul. How you guys doing?
Hey, Ray, thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks for inviting me. You know, I see your guys broadcast every Friday, and, you know, it really is an honor to be on here. So I appreciate you guys inviting me on.
Absolutely. We're happy to have you on here. When I was thinking about doing Dryvit finishes, obviously you came to mind and specifically one of your projects that we wanted to feature. And then, of course, after this, we've got another guest coming on to talk to about his experience too. So Ray, tell us your experience in the industry and talk to us about this project here.
Yeah, so I mean, this was a truly unique project opportunity. So this particular building had 0 eaves on it specified originally. This was built in Manchester, New Hampshire. Manchester, New Hampshire was at one point one of the largest mills cities in the world. So it has a very old school brick look kind of feel vibe in the downtown area. And this project was originally supposed to have thin brick, and then metal panels to follow with the true design. So if you guys have seen other trues, you typically don't see them have brick, but Hilton had made an exception to this project because it was in that historical district. So they incorporated brick into that design. Well, when I had originally gone to this job, it's actually funny. I went to a different job site and it was too late to get onto the new brick presentation on there. So they actually referenced this job and said, hey, those guys are about to start. So I made my way to the GC and showed them the new brick, and it kind of took off from there. You know, it was very light, so we could eliminate all the structural steel all of the lentils. We could basically make this building a lot lighter than what it was traditionally designed for. And then when we started to look at some of the other finishes, on the bottom picture, you see a lot of the blues and the yellows. Those are supposed to actually be metal panels. And we used what's called Demanded Advantage, which is basically a high gloss paint to replicate those metal panels. And then on the bottom of the windows, in that bottom left corner picture where you see the black, that was actually metal panels as well. So we used Reflect It. It's another high gloss, kind of paint thing that replicates our metal panel look. So I mean, this building was originally started to have 0 EIFS on it. We ended up getting 100% EIFS on it, including our Secure Arc ExoAir 430 board, which dramatically increased the speed of the construction, because this job started in November and December of 2020. And because of the temperatures in the Northeast, we weren't able to put the AVB on it. So Secure Arc 430 proved to be a valuable installation method for this project.
That's awesome. So you got in early enough. How early in the planning stage? Because you had gone to one job and it was too late, and they took you onto this one. At what stage was it then? Would you consider?
So they were in the initial proposals. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I remember because of this building being built in the historical mill yard, there were some chemical contaminants in the ground, which caused some unexpected price increases because they had to, remove all of the soil and bring new soil in. By switching to our value proposition with our Dryvit building enclosure, we saved them almost $500,000 by switching all of those materials out to our product. So it was a win-win for everybody.
Yeah, Ray, you also mentioned 430, so they must have picked up quite a bit on the schedule as well by going to 430.
Correct. Yeah, we started framing the building in December, and then we were done by the entire building framing and sheathing by, I want to say, March. If this had been a traditional construction, I mean, you wouldn't have been able to put the AVB, the interior trades wouldn't have been able to get on the inside to do their work and the electrical and all that. So by us coming up with this solution for them, we were able to increase the construction speed for not only the exterior, but the interior as well.
That's amazing. We talk a lot about our high performance systems, and sometimes when you look at them, you have to compare everything, right? Because it may have a bigger cost to it. But then when you look at that from a holistic approach, because they didn't have all the extra lintels and the structural load on the building, they could build differently. Now they're going to get a high performance building, but it actually saved them time and money.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So
better and cheaper.
Yeah, so it's like a unicorn from that perspective, but that's great. I know you spent a lot of good hard work on this project. The pictures look beautiful. It's just really a great example of all the different types of facades coming together.
Yeah, Ray, when you were first sharing New Brick, what was the reaction when you brought the whole concept of New Brick to them?
So the reaction was great. It's lightweight. I want to kind of make a joke. Before I hand it to the GC or the architect, I'll take the New Brick, the single flat modular brick, and I'll toss it at them, and say, hey, what do you think of this? And they'll catch it, be like, oh my God, wow, this is so light. We have photos of contractors carrying 4 bundles of brick, 96 brick each, which I think comes out to around 13 square feet a bundle. I used to be a bricklayer myself, and you can only carry 9 brick in each hand at a time. And, to go from 9 brick to 96 brick is, it's a pretty big increase on productivity just from walking around and the lightness of it, So the reactions were great. One of the things that I always say is, are we trying to build a high performing wall, or are we just trying to maintain the aesthetic look? Because we can do both. We can give you a high performing wall and give you an aesthetic look that you're desired, that you want to have with our systems. So I mean, it's a win-win. There's really no loss on this.
Yeah, it's beautiful, beautiful building. I know working in your region, you've worked with different installers, and I know we wanted to bring another guest on. So do you think we should bring on our next guest, Ray? Do you think it's time?
I think it's time.
To introduce our next guest. So Alex Gator Gatewood, welcome to Tremco Live.
Thanks, Marcy and Paul, for having me.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for joining us. Welcome to the show.
I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, tell us your experience in the industry. Give us a little bit of feedback or info on yourself.
So I didn't start out in the industry. I got brought on by our owner, Chris Yanch, about 8 years ago, a little over 8 years ago. And he himself has been around now for about 34 years, but been in the plastering game much longer than that. And it's funny because I grew up right down the road from his shop, about 3 houses. 1, I didn't know who he was, and 2, I didn't know what he did. And when I came on and started to learn about this industry and this trade, particularly the eaves trade, foam and stuff, and the possibilities are just unbelievable. And what you can achieve with foam is incredible. And, meeting the people like all you people along the way has been what's most exciting, really, other than building the buildings itself. So.
Well, we feel that way too. We like this interaction with people like yourself. So too bad. I understand you were in Cleveland last week, so we didn't get a chance to meet you. Too bad for that. That would have been nice.
I got to see the test lab, test wall. Is that what it's called? Test wall?
Yeah.
Pretty absolutely stunning stuff. And then the wonderful people at Tremco showed me around the actual manufacturing plant. I've never seen anything like that. It was neat. It was pretty cool. You guys do some fascinating stuff. I look forward to using a couple more Tremco products along the way. I'm mainly a Dryvit guy, but you guys make some sealants and some waterproofing that are coming out spec'd, and I'm interested to learn more and put those into our resources and apply some of that stuff. And Ray promised me he'd take me to Dryvit lab though someday up Rhode Island, so I'm going to hold him to that.
Come on, Ray, you can do that. So I know you shared a couple photos with us here. So do you want to talk us through some of these pictures?
So this particular project here is in Syracuse, New York, and we came in on with a GC who I believe Keith Ross with Thermal Foams put us into this project. And we were able to do this job all through the winter because of the fact we panelized it. Every single thing, including that top detail, is all panels done in the warehouse. We were able to hang them. It was, still chilly outside, and we cut the cost in half, in true half, right down the middle. And we made the owners very happy. And obviously, when you can save that kind of money and efficiently get your the aesthetic of your building achieved, and still have that true metal appearance, because I feel like it's more beautiful than metal. And like you mentioned earlier, just the seamless transition from all the colors and different products and the air bear, it's all one system, and it's all one warranty. It's pretty. This was a fun project.
When you talk about panelization, do you find that you're doing it because of weather or time or both?
It depends. We're willing to panelize almost anything, whether it's a cornice molding detail like I just did down on a bank in Wellsboro because of winter, or it's just, I find in the shop reflected is the best way to do it due to the controlled environment. And, if somebody didn't want the recommended Dryvit 5x5 panel, we're able to offer, bigger panels because it's a controlled environment and you could control your spray. And panels are the way to go. I don't have much to say about panels except we love doing them. We'll panelize anything. Sorry about that. So
no, that's good. That's good. How about this one here? You shared this project too with the reflected panels again. Look how beautiful these look.
This was a pretty wild project here. Same thing. We got it switched from insulated metal to reflected, and we were able. That's 7.5-inch foam, and that's a full panel corner. So back to what I was saying about a controlled environment. We were able to do this entire corner in one piece, versus, you know, putting them together and having the caulk joint up the corner. And it's a lot. It's a beautiful, beautiful product. We really we enjoy doing Reflect It when it's done right. It's a beautiful system. And we helped with the R value on this, you know, by putting 7.5 in foam. So that's another Reflect It.
You mentioned that you were able to flip this. So do you actively promote and try to flip projects over to different types of EIFS materials?
Yes, we're actually in the process of flipping another one that Ray and actually more people from Dryvit are more involved in. We're trying to get the City of Ithaca Planning Board on board with doing more of this Reflect It and new brick stuff in lieu of their typical way they approve buildings. And we work at it. When we get involved, we'll get a phone call and say, hey, this is over budget, what can you do? And we'll give them the option. We'll make them a mock-up, and we'll give them the option. And sometimes it's a success and sometimes it's not, but that's the name of the game. You win some and you lose some, and you're happy for the chances that you get, kind of like this in the St. Joe's and products like that, and hopefully the one in Ithaca that we're chasing after with Ray and Bob Dazzle very hard.
I think it's interesting, Marcy, that Gator mentioned you get a call when you're over budget. It seems we often get calls when you're either behind schedule, over budget, or both.
Yeah.
And these systems can really make a hero out of the GC and picking up time and cost.
Well, I think what a great job that you do and your company is the seeing is believing, right? So that's where your mock-ups come into play. I know you shared with me some pictures of a mock-up you're working on, which I didn't include here, but I'm sure that's the moment, right? You build this mock-up and you probably wow them with how, you know, your skill of putting these panels together and making them look like metal and brick and stone.
Yeah, achieving a building design out of a material that's not intended to be used or spec'd, I feel is pretty neat. And, you know, prior to being in the EIFS game, or EIFS, sorry, I don't say it right around here. Prior to being in the EIFS.
Yeah, anyway, it depends on where you're at. I think people call it different things.
I got yelled at by Zabo. But so in the EIFS game, you know, it's a big advantage to be able to, you know, flip a product that's in the spec to Dryvit and still achieve that aesthetic look and still achieve almost an exact, or if not better, replication of the design. And it's incredible. It's a fun business.
Well, and as you know, having Dryvit be part of Tremco, I'm used to looking at like the Securic Expert 430 behind the panels and behind the scenes. So it's nice to see all this like finished work that we get to take a look at. It's beautiful.
Gator, any familiarity with the 430 system at this point?
Ray's the one who started telling me about it, and we're currently like I'm in, not in partnership with, but I'm in with a carpenter crew, John C. Lowry out of Ithaca, who we've mentioned it to him many times. I haven't seen it much around here, but I'm also not a glass rock installer, so you know I don't put sheathing up. I bury it. You know what I mean?
You put the finish on that sheathing. How about this project here, the Union College, where you do limestone and spray applied quartz? Is it quartz puts? I had to look that up.
Quartz puts.
Look, which is amazing.
It's one of Dryvit's standard finishes. It's like I call it a German finish. It's like a wormhole. It's pretty neat finish. It's so what happened here is this is my I'm most proud of this project. I think it's the most beautiful project that I've done personally. So I don't know if you could see in the bottom right corner. I wish I had a better picture. I sent you now, but in the bottom right corner of the bottom left picture, you can see that building next to it. That's an original building in the late 1890s. And that's the look they were going for, that old world stucco, old world plaster stipple look. And so when I was bidding this particular project, they wanted to receive a Dryvit warranty. So all these centerpieces that were our stippled look, the brown, they wanted to know what can we do? How can we match this? Because the contractor went in about 5-6 years prior to that, and it was just real fine. It wasn't that real heavy look. And I said, give me a week and I'll play with some stuff. And I just happened to start spraying quartz pots one day, and I got a real heavy texture, and they were like, this is exactly what we're looking for. And, you know, like you mentioned earlier, they gave them a 1-system warranty, a 1-system air barrier, transitionless. And, you know, they wouldn't have been able to do that if I had to put control joints in at every column and do stipple stucco in between. They wouldn't have received that 1-system warranty that they were looking for. So they got their old world look, but a new age design and a new age product. And it's a beautiful, beautiful job. I think someone just did a piece on it up in Albany too on it. So just the whole design of the building. I'm very proud of it. The limestone product itself is wonderful, easy to work with, I think. We ran all these walls at night. And then, you know, you can see the detail. It's not crazy, but it's just foam, you know. That's what I tell people all the time. It's foam. It's just foam board. So, and you can do anything with it.
So to have it look so good like that.
Yeah, it's interesting, Gator, that they really looked to you to sort of make their art come true, if you will.
Yeah, exactly. You're like the artist on these projects.
Well, I mean, I don't design them.
This one's a little closer of that stipple look that you mentioned, and this just kind of goes into the customization possibilities that you have.
Yeah, so as you can see the limestone, you know, arches and whatnot, but the in between in the columns, the in between brown is it's not, you can sort of tell, but it's a pretty heavy texture for quartz for an EFIS spray, you know. And that's exactly what they were looking for, and my guy nailed it. He sprayed every single bucket on that job, about 62 of them. One guy sprayed the whole job. So
I was looking at your LinkedIn. I think there was a picture of somebody standing next to a whole stack of buckets. I don't know if it was from that project or not, but
no, that's a VB job we did down in Corning. It was a Guthrie job. Yeah, we ran those in one day. It was like 38 buckets or something we put on the wall. So that was a fun picture. It's fun. You got to have fun. You got to love what you do, and you know, it's more than just going up and putting mud on the wall. You got to have a passion for the industry and the trade and the people that you're dealing with. And I mean, obviously, you get to see the final end result. Not a day goes by I don't feel like I'm like, oh man, I was a part of that building, you know. And that's pretty exciting, you know. And there's just more to come now, you know.
That's great. That's awesome. I know we were talking yesterday, and he goes, are you the girl that was taped to the wall with Dante?
But he wants to spray a finish on you now.
Yeah, I know. It's funny. So, well, Gator and Ray, thank you so much for sharing all this great information with us, sharing your perspective, your projects. I know this won't be the last time that we chat with you guys. So thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. And we'll be sure to have you come on again. And Ray, get him to the Dryvit facility. My goodness, you're you're closer to that one than Cleveland.
I know. We'll get you there, Gator. We'll get you there.
Yeah.
It'd be sand pebble fine if you got me out there. You know what I mean? a little Dryvit joke for the day. Thank you very much, guys. It was an honor to be a part of this, and I appreciate everything you do, especially Ray. And I look forward to the next 8 years.
Absolutely. We look forward to it too. There's so much we can do together. So thanks, guys.
Thanks,
Awesome.
guys.
Thanks for joining us.
Have a good day, guys.
Yep, you too.
Well, that was quite a tour of
Yeah.
the buildings that we saw.
So many great projects. It's pretty exciting. He was just sending me so many pictures, and like I said, you know, in most of my experience, it's like below grade. You know, coatings, we can really do a lot with coatings, right? Or obviously the air barriers, but then they get covered up. Like he said, he puts the finishing touch on those. So it's nice to see all these pictures.
Yeah, it was also interesting to hear how he collaborates on the project where they're actually looking to him to partner with how do we do this?
Yeah.
And he noodles for a week and comes back and said, I think I got it.
Yeah. It's great. Well, we're excited that his next door neighbor, he ended up, connecting with him, and it certainly made a career out of it. And, I think it's important to love what you do. And I know that's what gets me out of the bed every morning. I love what I do.
Yeah, that really came through with what both Gator and Ray said.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yes, absolutely. Well, thank you everybody for joining us today. We're excited to come and step into spring next month. So we're going to do some spring into action features where we're talking about time savings. So obviously we talked about time savings even today when we talked about these technologies and how we compare them. So we'll continue to compare technologies, and we'll look at how they save time and money on your projects.
All right, exciting.
So, see you next time. Thanks everyone.
Be safe.